As the previous week was Alan Dwan week, this week shall be focused upon the earlier films of director Freddie Francis. I shall discuss Freddie Francis' films released from 1962 to 1965. Two of them have already been discussed in this program, The Evil of Frankenstein and The Skull, and so if those two accepted, we will be looking into each film Francis released between 62 and 65. So today we start with 1962's The Brain, Francis' directorial debut, quite evidently a film directed by a cinematographer by trade, as it has needlessly impressive, considered photography throughout its runtime. Compare this to even early Terence Fisher, say 1953 Spaceways, not nearly as well photographed as this picture. Kurt Siodmak was responsible for this film's source inspiration. His novel Donovan's Brain was published in 1942, and The Brain was actually the third adaptation of this story. Kurt Siodmak was an author of pulpy sci-fi horror titles, as far as I can tell, although he wrote some film screenplays of this kind which are more well-known than his novels, such as 1941's The Wolfman and 1943's I Walked with a Zombie. Kurt was the younger brother of the acclaimed director Robert Siodmak, and they actually collaborated together on 1930's People on Sunday, quite a revered picture, although Siodmak's directorial career is more celebrated than any of Kurt's work, as it were. Kurt did direct a few more films other than helping out just on People on Sunday. In the 50s, we had Bride of the Gorilla, The Magnetic Monster, Karuku, Beast of the Amazon, and Love Slaves of the Amazons. Marvelous. Anyway, The Brain is fairly basic in ambition, although it serves as a fascinating practice for director Francis, collaborating with his cinematographer Robert Houck in order to present as dynamic and stylized an image as possible, despite the vague sterility of the general storyline. The film is about a revived brain who seeks revenge on his murderers via a telepathic link with the scientist who resurrected it. It's fun, I suppose. Given its cinematographic vision, The Brain is likely to impress one far more so than they might have otherwise expected. Oh, I ought to mention, perhaps, The Brain is not technically Freddie Francis' debut feature. There is 2 and 2 Make 6, released that same year, but I cannot find any way to view it, and it sounds like a rather tepid film anyway, some banal rom-com number according to research, so I'm not too fussed. It is a wonder that Freddie Francis made so many memorable horror titles, especially given that, as one may or may not have expected, he wasn't exactly a fanatic for this genre. He's quoted as saying, "Horror films have liked me more than I have liked horror films." A bit unfortunate that he felt this way, although maybe his dispassion gave him an objective outsider's eye for what would make a scene look good regardless, without preconceived biases on which may have emphasized horror for horror's sake, or any horror will do. If Francis had contempt for the genre, he may have worked harder on the production, or more considerably on the photography, in order to be as proud of his work as possible. The result is one of the premier horror directors, someone who I find something to value in essentially all of their films, The Brain onwards, excluding that aforementioned unseen debut. Do stay tuned if you're so inclined for even more Freddie Francis. Monday to Sunday, we'll be exploring his early output from 1962 to 1965, and I know I'm certainly going to be enjoying myself. Well, anyway, the sun is coming up. Have a swell day, all.